Hey everybody, hope you guys are having a great day. It's Jimmy and Bill. So every week what we do is we do a surprise question. Well, I give the question, Bill responds to the question. So he has really no idea what I'm going to ask.
Nope.
Okay, and this video is about, and the question is about, before I give you that answer, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. This video is about one of the clients that I've seen said, you know something? Realtors do nothing and they earn thousands of dollars. Now this was a buyer, but I also heard it from a seller saying, you know what? The house sells itself. But there's more to it, and since I'm not a realtor, I think it's best that you answer it.
Okay.
What it's really like to be a realtor. Is it as easy as these people are saying, or what you go through every day? And Bill's a full-time realtor, by the way.
This is how I feed my family and pay my bills, period, hands down.
So what I'm gonna do on this video is I'm gonna hand the camera over. I'm not even gonna hold it.
What? You're not gonna hold the camera on this
I'm
one?
not gonna hold the camera.
Jeez Louise.
And then this way, I'll chime in here and there, but I want you to explain why you deserve X amount of dollars on a sale or a purchase. Here's the camera, go for it.
All right. All right, so what's it like to be a realtor? It's long hours, some stress, but every job has stress, right? Like, you can't really measure that. My job had stress before I retired from the fire department. You had stress in your previous career, etc. So every job has its own inherent stresses. Think about this for a moment though. When it comes to real estate, we're actually dealing with people's potentially largest investment that anybody's making in their lifetime. It's a huge investment.
True.
It's a house.
The house is the biggest investment.
Yeah. So talk about stress levels, you know, and because you care. The people who don't care, you really should, we've got some problems there. But if you care about your clients, you're there for your clients. That's the point. A knowledgeable real estate agent will be able to help you through problems. If you think the deal went smooth and they didn't really do anything, it's probably a good agent. Not gonna lie. Because that agent made it look simple. Now, have I done some deals that it was sign a couple contracts, fill out a few pieces of paper, next thing you know, we go to title. I've done like maybe 1, 2 like that, where there's been no hiccups, no issues. But at the end of the day, all the paperwork is still the same. Paperwork is the least of anybody's concern. That's the fastest and easiest part when we put in a contract. But when you're...
The reason, by the way, we stopped walking, it's like 90 degrees and there's some shade. I'm like, I need some shade, because that's what we go through for these videos for you. This is Florida, and it's hot and humid. Yeah,
we're at like, we're almost at 90 degrees today. So, we, you know, let's just look from the buy side. We're showing you houses. We're driving around, right? We don't get paid until you actually close on your property. So there's expenses on both sides for a realtor. All right, so you mentioned earlier that your client said that they were making all the decisions, and they should be making the decisions.
Right.
This is their property. We as realtors are really in an advisory capacity, and we present you with options for you to choose from, best course of actions based on your needs and what your goals are and the problem that's presented, if there is any. And there are problems inherently in a real estate deal.
Yeah, but there's a whole bunch. So, I mean, the situation is that clients don't see everything that you do. It's not like you wake up and you're like, okay, here, the deals are falling into place. Everybody's doing what they're supposed to do. There's a lot of pieces to the puzzle.
Right, there's a lot of moving parts. You've got the buyers, you have the sellers, you have the seller's agent, you've got the home inspector, you've got the appraiser, you've got the surveyor, you've got the title team, you've got the lending team.
Termite, if you're doing termite inspection.
Yep, there's another one. So that's a lot of moving parts.
Mortgage person.
Yep, the lending team. Yep. So these are a lot of moving parts. to coordinate to make sure everything gets done. And you're not the only person that people are working with.
Right.
You know, so like the title company, if they only worked with one customer at a time for a month, they probably would go broke.
Right. So let me ask you this: at 5 o'clock, do you shut off your phone?
No.
Do you know any realtors that shut off their phone at 5 o'clock or on Saturday or Sunday?
I know a couple part-time realtors that do.
Okay.
You know, so I mean, I'm going to take some flack for this, but I mean, it is what it is. There's nothing wrong with being a part-time realtor. I'm not trying to dog anybody that's trying to break into the real estate gig, but to have a full-time job, and when I'm talking a full-time job, I'm talking, you know, you've got responsibilities at a company. Like you're working for the city and you start at 8 o'clock and you're done at 5. You can't answer anybody's communications or calls or go anywhere until you're off work that day. That's what I mean by a full-time job, being a full-time realtor. Not saying you have a little side hustle or something along those lines, but you know, did you want your realtor, if you're a buyer, do you want your realtor not answering the phone until, you know, 5:15 when they're done with work for the day, when there's something going wrong before closing? Like, you know, there's always issues, extensions that need to get filed on time. Those are things that people don't see. You know, we negotiate an inspection period as one example, and then the inspector finds something wrong with the house, like you did on one of our properties that we just did together. And we ended up having to file extensions. But by the time we got all the pieces put together, we were up against the wall. Now, if I had a full-time job, I wouldn't have met my deadlines, because these are contracts. These are legal binding documents that have, you know, very specific start and end points. That's just one small example.
What is the average realtor, like, say you, how many clients can you juggle at the same time? Do you reach a point that you're like, you know what, I can't take on any more clients because I won't service the other clients?
Yep, so that's where you have to make a decision. In my opinion, you've got to make a decision on what kind of realtor you want to be. Right. When you get to that point, do you want to be a realtor? Do you want to be just on your own, which is totally fine. Most realtors are, and there's nothing wrong with that. Maybe they have what we call a transaction coordinator, somebody who's sending the emails and responding to the day-to-day emails that go, making sure that the survey was ordered, the appraiser was ordered. People make mistakes. This is a big moving puzzle piece. Right. And the last thing you want to have happen is you're 10 days from closing and you forgot to get the appraiser ordered, you know? Right. And now you can't close, so you have to negotiate an extension and hopefully not lose the deal altogether. So this is what I'm saying. There's moving parts that you have to be aware of. Different realtors can handle different volumes of work. It just depends on the complexities. So basically, what time does usually a realtor start? First thing in the morning? They're on the phones? What's the main thing? Phone calls? Yeah, so if showings? So like if we're scheduling showings, we're trying to schedule showings the night before or the morning of for that afternoon to try to get those booked out. Because some people do need, you know, they're not all vacant homes. So they're gonna need to be scheduled out ahead of time. And some people want notice before they get in. So like one of my listings right now, she works from home. So I have to get it approved, and she's in a gated community. So I have to get it approved before she can schedule an appointment, and we have to get her on the guard gate. So I have to call the guard gate, get it approved, call the guard gate every time, give everybody's information, and then I have to call the buyer's agent back and say, yes, you can go to your approval. Let me ask you a question. Do you on some listings, especially out-of-state buyers, do you go there and check out the house yourself? Oh yeah, I do that a lot. And how far would you travel to sometimes? What's the farthest you traveled for a house? I went 2 hours. Yeah, I went to Sun City, which is pretty far for me. You know, out of the Wesley Chapel, Dunedin area. I went to Sun City. We didn't, because I don't know where my clients are going to end up. We started right down the street from my office. Right. And then they didn't find what they wanted. So am I just going to dump that client and say, sorry, you know, I'm not driving to Sun City? Right. No, I mean, and there's pros and cons to that too, but. So, you know, I know another realtor, and I feel really bad. She showed the house, probably 6 or 7 houses to the same people. Yep. You know, just different things. And then they worked on another house, and she was into it really hard. She was putting all the puzzles together, different personalities, everything. Yeah. And she did all that, and then the deal fell apart, not because it was her fault, it just fell apart. And now they're like, you know what, we're gonna hold off a year or two. Now she's basically has
probably over a month into this thing, putting all the pieces together. And how much did she end up making? Zero.
Yep. So, and that does happen. So that's a serious problem. You know, and unfortunately that happens in the industry. You know, we call it buyer fatigue, you know, because you've lost a couple deals, you're frustrated. I completely understand it. There's circumstances beyond everybody's control, and taking a break sometimes is the best solution. But at the end of the day, that realtor put in, let's say you're fatigued because you spent, you know, 3 weekends, 4 weekends putting in showings. Well, the realtor's doing the same thing, and they're not making money.
Because you work Saturdays and Sundays.
Oh, I work I work 7 days a week.
Yeah, so you basically, full-time realtors work 7 days a week when they have to.
Yeah, I actually was trying to schedule appointments one day, and they said, you know, that's a holiday, right? And I didn't realize it was a holiday. I was like, oh, that's why nobody's answering the phone today. Silly me.
So
but
I mean,
they don't get paid. We don't get paid until you close. That's the point. So, and I don't know if you're going to find a house that you like, if you're going to stay in the market, you're not going to stay in the market. Nobody does. So and then of course you've got expenses on both sides, of the sale side and the buy side. On the realtor, we're our own company. You know, I'm paying for my gas, my vehicle. You know, we don't get paid until you close on your house. So how many closings does the average realtor do in their, you know, annual year? I mean, it just depends monetarily wise. The average is about $36,000, or, you know, I can't say how many houses because everybody's market's different.
Right. But what I'm just saying is you do more than just open a door so that people can walk around.
Right, we're building strategies. We're looking up documents.
Are you pre-qualifying the people? Are you sending them to a mortgage?
Yeah, we help them get pre-qualified mortgages. We answer their questions. Like I said, we strategize. It's not that simple. Once you sit down with a realtor, you really should be making a plan and looking at everything. Not that we're financial advisors, not that we are, you know, mortgage brokers or anything of that nature, but we all have we should have a base understanding of those things so that we can help guide you and put you into the right person's, right, you know, connect you with the right person to speak to about the situation that you have a question on. That's really what it boils down to.
So going back to my other question, because I'm curious, I don't know this answer too. How many clients that are looking to buy a house can you juggle before you're like, I can't take on any more clients?
So what I would call active clients, like I'm actively showing you properties. Yeah. You know, you get in that 5 to 6 people range, and you are hustling because you're really hoping somebody gets under contract too. That's, you know, so you've got a lot of work going on.
You have to pay an assistant too sometimes.
Correct. I have an assistant.
Yeah, so you have to pay them too.
Yep.
So it's not like, and then from what I understand, the brokerage makes money too.
Yeah, that money. So when you close the deal, whatever the case is, that you say we make thousands of dollars and all this extra money, well, you have to remember that doesn't just go into my pocket. So let's just say the average realtor, no assistant, no nothing, just the average realtor. Mm-hmm. The broker gets paid. We have to pay for marketing, not just marketing the property on a listing side, but we have to pay marketing so that we're hopefully bringing in some buyers. You know, when you see our name on like Zillow, realtor.com, that is not free. We are paying for that information, just like Google, the whole 9 yards. We're paying a lot. There's some serious expense to those advertisements, because that's what it is. They're advertisements. Vehicle, then I have to pay for insurance, licensing, continuing education, which is pretty significant in the real estate world. You know, and if the brokerage house is providing leads or, you know, staff, we have to pay for them as well. So by the time you slice it all up, I take my cut, you know, my portion of the buy side cut, and then, you know, we're paying taxes and everything else, just like I have all the same expenses everybody else does that has a job. Health insurance, taxes, FICA, you know, Social Security, all that.
And the reason why I wanted to do this video is because I know a lot of realtors. I know a lot of really good realtors. And I know some that are questionable, but they work. Like, literally, they text me at 11 o'clock at night saying, hey, can we do this tomorrow? They're up all the time. They know I'm up because that's the way I do business too. So it's not like we're at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, we shut off, you know,
Right.
we shut off our phones. They call me on Saturdays, Sundays. When I do an inspection on Sunday, they'll be like, all right, you know what, I'm going to stop by there and see you.
Right.
Because they have a time frame, because on the inspection side, there's a certain amount of time that the inspection has to be done. And then if I find problems, they have to figure out how to resolve it before the inspection period ends.
Right, and from a sales side, from a seller's side, they want the shortest amount of an inspection period here in our local area, because that's when the buyer has the most options to withdraw their offer during that inspection period. So they want to keep that as short as possible.
See, the buyer never does the negotiating directly with the buyer, right?
Yeah, nobody does.
I mean,
the agents handle it.
The agents handle it. So my point is, I'm a true believer that a lot of realtors really earn their money. I just wanted to get this video out there, and it's not as easy as everybody thinks. You know, I'm sure a lot of you don't think that, but some of you, you know, if you do think that, it's not the case. They work really, really hard. So, you know, your local realtor, he's gonna earn his money if you hire him or her.
Yep. It's hard, so just keep that in mind. And of course, if you have any questions, always feel free to call.
Yeah,
I love chatting about this stuff.
Yeah.
But, you know, I have a passion for it. That's why I work as hard as I do. My family understands it. They understand, you know, being a full-time realtor, it's a lot of hard work. You know, so I miss a few things, but it's any questions, I'm always open to chat about anything, not just, you know.
Leave a message, you know, leave a comment below, because Bill actually reads the comments too, and he'll respond directly to you.
Yep.
Anyways, we don't want this video to go too long. Again, I really appreciate you guys watching the video. As always, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification, and we'll talk to you on the next one.
Yep. Thanks.
All right, bye.